Welcome to People and Politics. My name is Jonathan Parker. Again, I'm your instructor. Please make sure before we go any further that you buy this book, Why Politics Matter. We'll be reading all of it during our time together. This won't be a situation where you get mad at me in the end of the 16 weeks and say, why did you make me buy this textbook? We do use it. We will be using all of it. Make sure, though, because there is a newer edition, that you stick with the third. That's the one we're using. That's the one that the college has chosen for this class for this semester. So Why Politics Matter, an Introduction to Political Science, third edition. All right, so why politics matter? These are questions, many of which you will be answering for me for assignments for weeks 1 and 2. So, like, we're all socialized by our family, our friends, our peers, in terms of politics, in terms of, like, religion, just what we believe. These people are what make us who we are. For instance, my family has been Lutheran for generations and generations and generations. I've been doing genealogical research this summer. I found out that that actually comes from my family's immigration from Hungary. We were Lutherans in Hungary. We brought that over to America. So, have your political beliefs been challenged since you entered college? I hope that they have. Typically, that's what happens when you enter college. So what are political ideologies? What you believe. All right, so in the United States, and we will be talking in this course about the entire planet. So just in the United States, right, you have a right wing, you have a left wing, you have the Republicans, you have the Democrats. Now on the scope of the world stage, our right wing and our left wing really occupies kind of a middle ground. They're not really all that extreme in the grand scope of things, but there's a right wing. The Republicans, typically, historically, they've wanted lower taxes. They've wanted a bigger military. The left wing, typically, historically, I'm painting in broad brush strokes, want to raise taxes, are for social welfare programs. Public opinion polls are very important indicators of where we are. You better believe that Donald Trump and Mike Johnson and John Thune right now are looking at public opinion polls to see how things are going to shake out in November, and if Republicans will keep the Senate. The House, probably not. I'd be surprised if they did. What is the difference between hard power and soft power in the realm of international politics? So hard power is military. Hard power are missiles. Hard power is, you better do what I want you to do, or I'm going to force you into it, and I'm going to force you into it at gunpoint. Soft power is like the British royal family. King Charles, for example, made a state visit over here and gave President Trump an invitation to stay with him at Windsor. This is soft power. The British royal family have a certain level of prestige. The government of the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland will send King Charles, will send William, Prince of Wales, around the world to use their star power to advance British interests. And we will get to questions 5 and 6 in due time. So, political socialization, we've gone over. It's how you are brought up to think about politics, politicians, the right wing, the left wing, which again, in American context, is really a very small scale. Public opinion polls, you might have been called at some point and asked what you thought about an issue, right? Demographics, that's an excellent term. What demographics are, their characteristics, right? So somebody will ask me if I get called for an opinion poll, tell me, are you white? Are you African American? Are you Latino? As you can see, I'm white. All right, that's my demographic. I'm a white male. There are other things that go into that, but that's just one thing. Voting turnout in recent presidential elections by race and ethnicity. So you can see that over time, Caucasians are predominantly the ones that have been more consistently turning out in presidential elections than other groups, African Americans, Hispanics, other races, although everything, according to this graph, has gone up over time. Women, this surprised me. I would have thought it was the other way around. Women are voting more in presidential elections over time than men. People who have higher education are more likely to vote than people who did not complete high school or left school at some point. A bachelor's degree or higher makes a big difference in whether you're likely to vote or not. All right, this is a very famous definition. Harold Lasswell. I'm not one of those teachers who asks you to remember names, but this is a great definition of politics. This is the classic definition of politics. Politics is who gets what, when, and how. So the function of government, really, when you get down to brass tacks, is to collect tax dollars from people and redistribute them. So the government brings in money. How is it going to distribute it? Is it going to give X amount of money to rebuilding bridges in Illinois? Is it going to give X amount of money to preserving nature reserves in Alaska? How do these determinations get made? Well, we send representatives to the Congress and the Senate who are supposed to fight for our interests. There are political power. Now, that can mean a whole bunch of different things. It can be soft power, like we were talking about a couple slides ago, like the British royal family. It can be, power at the point of a gun. Political power can be done through persuasion, through, pretty ruthless, underhanded tactics. I don't know if any of you, saw the show House of Cards when that was on with Kevin Spacey, or even, what's another good example? Mitch McConnell, the former Senate Majority Leader, is another great example of someone who's collected a great deal of political power, who has a lot of clout, who's able to push things through. Social contract theorists, I don't want to get too much into this now because we will later, but Thomas Hobbes, essentially authoritarian. This is the guy who wrote The Leviathan, said life is nasty, brutish, and short, and then you die. John Locke, representative democracy, that's what we have here in the United States. Jean-Jacques Rousseau, another very famous thinker. Again, we'll get to them. I don't want to really touch on it now. All right. Do female justices view legal cases differently than male justices? 4 out of 112 justices have been women. And that has just been very recently, and I can name them: Sandra Day O'Connor, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, Elena Kagan, and Sonia Sotomayor. Those have been the 4 justices of the Supreme Court. What do all 4 of these female justices have in common? They've all been appointed. No, that's not true, because Ronald Reagan appointed Sandra Day O'Connor. But the other 3 have been appointed by liberal presidents, Democratic presidents. That's one thing you'll learn as we go through our semester together. If I only make one mistake in a lecture, it's been a good day. All right, political power and international affairs. I'm going to do a separate thing on the Arab Spring. This course involves so much international relations, American politics, comparative politics, and political theory, all courses of which I've taught and teach at the different schools I work at. So we'll do a thing on the Arab Springs here in this module, actually. But I'm going to give this to you in a real short version that we're going to unpack very soon. So like the Arab Spring, so in 2011, people were getting awfully fed up in the Middle East with how life was under these dictators and strong men and banana republics and all these things. So they used Twitter, which was what X was before it was X, to organize these revolutions. They all ultimately failed, but it showed that you didn't have to be a senator, you didn't have to be a dictator, you didn't have to be a general in the army to wield political power. The people did. The people rose up and overthrew a lot of these strong men. Unfortunately, the end result was the installation of more strong men. We've talked about that. Afghanistan was ultimately a failure. I mean, we went in there. I'm old enough to remember when we went in there. It was under the reason of counterterrorism to remove the Taliban. And then when we left, like 10 minutes later, the Taliban reclaimed power. So there's an argument, certainly there, that did we do much if the Taliban just came right back after we left? So this is the White House Situation Room, what you're looking at here. I remember when this happened. This was the raid to kill Osama bin Laden, conducted by SEAL Team 6. There's then Vice President Biden, President Obama, Secretary of State Clinton, as she was then, and others. So they receive an update on the mission against Osama bin Laden in the Situation Room. Now, the Situation Room of the White House is the president's war room, and it's been that way since the Situation Room came into being. It's hardlined, it's like the most secure room in the White House. So all these people were watching Osama bin Laden be killed by SEAL Team 6 in his compound in Abbottabad, Pakistan. So how can you engage in politics through policy debate? So the affirmative burden, right? You can develop a plan. All right, I want to fix the infrastructure in my town by filling the potholes. All right, what are the harms? All right, it will cost me a great deal of money to do this if I just do it out of my own pocket. What's the significant? Well, it will save people a lot of money because their car tires are no longer being blown out. Observation 2, 3, the negative team's responsible. What are the negatives? And this is an example of what a policy debate might look like. So political science is an academic discipline. The social sciences, political science, anthropology, criminal justice, economics, psychology, and sociology. I would put history in there too, and a couple other things. Depending on the college, like at one of the colleges I work at, political science and history are in the humanities department. They're not humanities. Just be aware. I mean, it's the soft sciences. We're looking at human behavior, why people do the things they do. And that's what all of these disciplines that you see on the screen right now, that's what they all have in common. I'm not going to touch on this right now because the next lecture I plan on delivering will talk about these things in great depth. So, why politics matters to you, make connections to your government and the world. I mean, they work for us, supposedly, right? So, write letters, make phone calls. When I teach state and local government, which they have that class at Richland, although it's called something else. All these classes are called something a little bit different at all these schools. I made students write letters to government officials. Some of them sent them. My point in that exercise was to show them that, they work for us and that they should respond. One semester, a student challenged me to do the same. And the mayor of my town never wrote back, and I never heard the end of it from that student. But the point still stands. Reach out. They work for you. If enough people complain, if enough people gather, sign petitions, change can happen. All right. So there are subfields. We'll get into comparative politics first. I have many years of experience teaching all of these subfields. I plan on introducing you to all these subfields and delving into some of them. There are 12 chapters in this book. We have 16 weeks together. There's time. So, thinking about international relations, how's this made? How's your cell phone made? Well, some of the components of the cell phone are made by these poor souls in the Democratic Republic of the Congo, which is neither democratic nor a republic. But that's another story. Congratulations, you have survived your first lecture with me.